because there are correspondences between them, the Inspector General of Police, cash receipts for purchase of ammunition from police, and all that.
How many pages? Can you
About 23 pages?
23 pages.
23, sir.
staple them in so that
23 pages.
they don't fly out? That will be
There's a newspaper report of
10 letters,
on this.
with 16, I suppose.
Asmana, please.
Is there someone in the line did from yesterday, please?
23. Yeah. Importation of arms.
Please ask that Barida.
Now, can we tender the document where Shell admitted financing some of these operations?
Buying arms. Well,
this,
about importing.
the one we have tendered,
Importation.
that has to do with importation of arms.
What about buying arms from the police?
Is there?
It's the same. They're all there.
They're all part of
in those 23 documents.
I see.
My Lord,
Have you marked them? You want to refer to some of those documents?
yes. My Lord, let me say that Shell controls more than 50% of the oil business in this country. My Lord, the Nigerian Shell, the Shell Petroleum Development Company Nigeria Limited, accounts for 14% of the global profits of Shell in the whole world. So it's a very profitable business for this company. My Lord, this controlling influence they have on the economy, because our economy is almost wholly dependent on oil, is being used sometimes by Shell to blackmail even the government to commit human rights abuses. My Lord, in this exhibit I've just tendered, 16, I want to refer basically to a document dated, a letter dated 1st of December 1993, addressed to Alhaji Ibrahim Komasi, the Inspector General of Police, by the then Shell Managing Director, P.B. Watts. My Lord, I understand that this P.B. Watts is possibly going to be the chairman of Shell in the whole world sometime this year. So you can understand that we are very far from getting the end of this problem. My Lord, that letter, the relevant part of this letter, particularly page 2, this is a letter they are requesting to set up a special contingent of security forces for their own operations.
Please, can you read it, page 2?
It says that SPDC, that's Shell, has given a commitment to provide complete logistics, accoutrement, and welfare support for the OPAPCO police force, which will be assigned to Shell's operations. It is recognized in recent times that in these current troubled times, it may not be easy to release the number of resources required to accurately protect Shell's facilities. However, we must emphasize that Shell produces more than 50% of Nigeria's oil, which has consequential major impact on the country's economy. To secure a continuation of operations at the present level requires the provision of maximum protection. We request, therefore, that you give consideration to providing such resources as are available at this time and to bring these to the full strength when a relative calm prevails. We confirm our requirement for the PSO can be assigned to Shell as follows. Then he puts the thing. Shell wishes to upgrade the class of firearms for vehicle and marine patrols. Beretta pistols will continue to be used by those on escort duties. The total number of semi-automatic rifles required is as follows. Then they put them, and then all that. So you see, they use this to even make the government. We produce more than half of your oil. If you don't give us these people, this will have consequence on the economy. And the government that relies mainly on oil gets jittery and now uses their own forces. Nowhere in the world do you see the military of any government being put in aid of a private company, a multinational. My Lord, if we have to move forward, and this will come in my recommendations, that monopoly that Shell has over the economy must be broken. If you don't do that, if we don't do that, the whole independence of this country is in their hands. They are the government, but they now shield themselves at the back. They are the people pushing the government to do most of these things. As I said, every government stands on a good foot. They talk with us. They start, oh, let's chat. Once the issue of oil comes, that is where the violence comes in. And why is it the constant figure that leads to this violence? I hold them as the primary culprit in the human rights abuses in Ogoni.
Please have a look at page 3 of that document, page 3, on the allowances.
My Lord, paragraph 4.3 on allowances. Yes. Shell records do not show that a marine exercise was carried out in either of our 2 operating divisions. Please note that we are still in the process of setting up a properly equipped marine section. However, we have noticed some discrepancies in the daily allowances paid to the men of the Nigerian police who are hired on an ad hoc basis to complement security at some locations. Allowances of between 30 naira per day and 80 naira per day, depending on rank, are currently being paid. We are now in the process of correcting this situation by ensuring that the allowances are commensurate with allowances received by the spy police.
Yes.
My Lord, I'm also aware that sometime last year, in fact, before the later part of last year, some Shell executives from this country were also abroad, being trained on the use of arms and ammunition. So these are some of the things that are happening, and they stayed behind to hide behind that their corporate veil, and the state takes responsibility. Those people in government, they know that without oil, they can't move. So the company stays at the back. If you don't do this, we do that. That's what they used. The process of these problems, the international outrage that follows the executions, that was the time they were negotiating on the LNG. My Lord, you look at the memorandum of understanding on the LNG, you will find that no country worth its salt will have gone into all those things. But they took advantage of the fact that the whole world were saying, withdraw from LNG. They can import anything they like through the LNG without paying appropriate duties. This is a country that those sort of things happen. Because at that time, Nigeria was like a pariah state. People were putting pressure, so they were looking for people. And not only Shell, several other companies were taking advantage of that. I have a letter from one company in Sweden that they were writing to the military administrator, and I might seek to tender that, to say, look, we have been campaigning for you over this embarrassment you are getting over the Ogoni and Sarawiwa. Meanwhile, you are owing us, pay us this sort of money. So there are also people who are cashing on all these things and using all sort of things to get some of these. I have that letter, perhaps I might tender it.
Now, you were going to tender the document where Shell admitted financing these operations.
Yes, my Lord, the document does exist. It has been reproduced in several reports. I'm sure that my friend Emeka Achebe is here. I'm sure that he will not say that they have not admitted that. But the document exists. But I have here a report by a group which is called Human Rights and Environmental Operations Information in the Royal Dutch Shell Group of Companies, 1996 to 97, which I seek to tender, which reproduced this
Commitment.
issue. Yes, where it was published.
Exhibit 17.
As my Lord places. Please, can you refer to the exact page of Exhibit 17?
My Lord, is page 10. If I may just read. After multiple denials, Shell now admits that, quote, members of the security forces have accompanied Shell personnel in SPDC helicopters and boats at various times. It goes on, Shell all does admit to providing transport for security forces, and on 2 occasions that involve loss of Ogoni life. The company maintains that they were merely protecting their interests and unconnected with the military activity.
Yes. Mr. Ledumite, you listened to the evidence of Colonel Okuntimo yesterday, and particularly where he did say that if the devastation that had occurred in Ogoni land had taken place in his own part of the country, he would have protested. You listen to that part of his evidence?
Yes. My Lord, I completely agree with him on that.
Yeah.
And I think I also agree with him when he said one of the ways forward is to implement the
Ogoni Bill of Rights.
In those 2 instances, perhaps, if nothing for more, that claim to chieftaincy.
Now, Ledum, you will agree with me that part of the devastation Colonel Okuntimo was talking about has to do with environmental pollution in Ogoni land.
Yes, my Lord. My Lord, when I'm talking about pollution in this area, I have said that I come from Cape Bradley. My Lord, over 60% of all the oil installations that we are talking about happens in my town, my village. My house is about 300 meters from the next oil installation. So I'm not talking about something that people have that in the air. I live with them. I see it every day.
Now, do you know that Nigeria is the only oil-producing country that still flares gas, that allows oil companies to flare gas? Do you know that?
My Lord, they are the same people. In fact, even recently, Agip has even done a little bit better. They say they will stop soon, but not these people, because even the other companies are small players in this thing. They are the main players. They are the most arrogant of all
Shell.
oil companies. Yes.
Shell. Now, do you recall that while the whole world was mourning the murder of Ken and others, Shell came out at that time, in 1995 December, to pledge his commitment to proceed with the LNG project?
Yes, it's here. Emeka Achebe, he said so. And it's on television.
Yes.
He said it on BBC, it was recorded, it's on this tape. He said it will be a disaster if they were to stop not to do that.
Now, any other thing that you want to say very quickly?
Yes, I'm sorry, not very quickly, but somehow.
No, quickly.
My Lord, after the executions, the Ogoni was traumatized. And what we thought then was, what are we going to do? We resolved that we had to commence, at least if only to show that we were not dead, we have to start our Ogoni Day celebration. My Lord, at this time, the River State Internal Security Task Force was now under the command of one Major Obi Umahi. My Lord, I've not seen him here, but he is a slick operator. If any person who knows, and unfortunately, He carries a Bible in his hands. He will tell you how Christianly he was. But on the 2nd of January, I just want to save the time, he led some troops and placed me first on house arrest in my village.
Which year?
1996 now. 1996. He placed me under house arrest in my village. On the 4th of January, he picked me up. He arrested me and my younger brother, Baton, who is there. Both of us were arrested. And under his direct command, I witnessed a 14-year-old boy, Nicodemus Pannen, a disabled boy, when they have shotgun and stuff, and the boy was running. Under his direct command, that boy was shot to death. I also witnessed him order his troops to whip people at the health center, some with blood. He was telling them, draw blood.
With a Bible in his hand.
Sorry?
With a Bible in his hand.
My Lord, you will see when we come here, he even tricked the church people that they should come and pray for peace in Ogoni. And he will go there and arrested all the church leaders. These were things. Evidences on all these instances will be given by the witnesses, many of whom are here. But each of these instances are there. When he got us...
Was he also an evangelist?
My Lord, in his own case, he owns a church. He owns a church on the road there. If you go to opposite Shell, that's where it's short, it's opposite Shell residential area. He owns a church there where he's a pastor.
Not a Reverend Father, please.
My Lord, we were not just arrested and taken away like that. We were subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment. We were marched at gunpoint with these troops around the whole village, my community. So they kept us in front, and we were being marched as if we were armed robbers. After we finished, they were driving behind us at gunpoint, pointing guns at us. Then they now detained us until the following day. At that time, a foreign journalist, Brian Adams, who had come to cover the Ogoni Day of Financial Times in London, when he tried to come there, he ordered his arrest.